All right, happy Tuesday, team. I'm going to have to get into a habit of saying that. Happy Tuesday, Tuesday training. It has a beautiful ring to it. We are so excited to still be in January, but to be in 2025 all together. I am so pumped for this year. I hope you guys are really excited. And if you haven't caught the energy and excitement yet, I want to challenge you to think about where you want to be 3 years from now, right? Where do I want to be 3 years from now? It's so easy to get stuck in this day or even this month. And I always tell my ladies, like, we don't work month to month. You're not working 30 days to 30 days, right? We still have what, 4 days left of this incredible month. And I told my girls this morning, I want you to drive even harder at the end of the month because you don't work month to month. You're not waiting on February 1st. We are in this beautiful long-term thing to create so much abundance, right? So as we end out January, I want to challenge you to go do more IPA than you have, and that means income producing activity, more conversations, more engagement than you have been doing all month long. Prove to yourself, I am in this for that long term win, right? Okay, so with that said, we're going to talk social media tonight. I have a PowerPoint for you. Some of this you guys have 100% heard before because this is what it is. But I had said we're going to keep this simple. So I cut out some pieces. We're going to simplify social media. And then I have some fun. We're going to try. I'm going to try to share my phone screen and show you some of my favorite reel and story tips that you might not know yet that I use every day and you can apply as well. So hang in for that and use the chat box, please. I don't want to feel like I am here alone. I am here to talk to you. So ask things in there and I want to see that blown up as well. Okay, so to kick this off, a little background on why I'm even speaking on this subject tonight. I went diamond without utilizing social media to its max. Like my social media posts were really, really bad. It was like graphics and images, never showing my face, like really, really bad. We were reminiscing the other day, going back to our old like 2014, 2015 posts. I was mortified. But all that to say, I utilized just conversations and people and talking to people because that's the heart of this business. So I want to remind you that social media is your backup. It's like the backup dancer, but your conversations that you're having with people are the star. If you are not starting conversations, then it does not matter how good or great you get at social media, it will not work. And I know this for an absolute fact because, friends, I have a benefit of getting to actually work with a lot of different influencers, people that have hundreds of thousands of followers. And what I found fascinating when I got to start working with these people is that their follower account, their mass success on social media, didn't actually mean anything to their business results. I had girls with no social media following that were also terrible at posting like I was get farther in their businesses than influencers that had no relationship and conversation with their followers. So if you're thinking I need to master social media first, you're doing yourself a disservice. What you need to master first is conversations, and social media is just the fun piece to back it up, right? So I always want to preface with that. I've seen it to be true a million times. With that said, I am going to share my social media tips for that backup dancer, right? Because we can oops, I want to only share one thing. We can always have fun there too in our spare time. Okay, so I wanted to show this because if you think I'm bad at social media and I'll never get better, that's what I said for a solid year. And then my mom said to me, Amber, you keep saying it, so you're making it true. You're not actually trying hard. You're not actually learning because you keep saying, I will always be bad at social media. So I made this graphic back when I was a brand new diamond, and I stuck it on my phone saver and I put it on my computer saver because it all starts with mindset, right? Because I said, I will learn how to make strangers my friends and make those friends want to order Plexus with me and be part of this. And What's super awesome, if you're on the call tonight and you're one of those strangers who became a friend, put it in the chat. My entire new team of all of last year and a half is all strangers I met on Instagram. So this can work, but it starts with our thoughts. All right, so we're going to kick it off with, this is what I see a lot. I go to someone's Facebook wall or even their Instagram wall, and I look at their feed, and it is all photos of things and no photos of them. I want you to go to your own Facebook wall right now or your own Instagram wall and go look at your last, let's say, 5 posts. How many of them show your face, your smiling face in the photo? And how many don't? The old posts don't matter anymore. You could be like, well, 6 posts, 7 posts, 8 posts away, I put a selfie of myself. That is old news. No new person is seeing that. It's only current content that matters, which is why I teach and train that good branding, good posts should almost always include your face in it. It doesn't need to be about you. This is Leah Linval. Shout out to her. She's one of the best Facebook posters. It doesn't need to be about you, but you need to be in it. And the reason is people are going to connect that post, that moment to your face. Your face is how they know, oh, she does that thing or she is that thing, right? So this post is about their date night. She didn't just put a picture of food in the restaurant. She put photos of themselves, right? Next, a photo of like what their family does on their ranch, photo of them. Goats, but it's not about the goats. She's in the goats, right? So you guys can see this. You get that picture. You always want to show yourself. If you have some mindset hangups about not wanting to show your face, I want to encourage you to maybe go on YouTube and YouTube how to take a good selfie, how to take a good photo. Because I think a lot of times people could really improve and love their photos with just a few tweaks. Things like getting in front of a window or creating distance. If you notice almost all these pictures of Leah, it's not a close-up photo. There is distance between her, so there's a lot going on as well. So there's a lot of tips to enjoy improving your photos that you can start applying. And one of them could be even just looking, what makes this photo good? What is going on in this picture that I could now duplicate in my own pictures? When I was first learning social media, I was asking that all the time. I would pause on a picture, pause on a story and say, what makes this good? And I would investigate it. Like, why is that so much better than mine? And look for those little clues of things that were being done, right? And also, you are always thinking more about yourself than people think about you. We want to see joy. We want to see energy and happiness in a photo. We don't sit there and pick apart how good the person looks. We're looking for energy and connection, not perfection. If someone looks gorgeous and perfect, most likely it's almost like you draw away from that because it doesn't feel relatable and attainable, right? You want to see relatability. So don't worry about looking perfect. 5 posting styles. If you are ever like, what do I post on Facebook? I have no idea what to post today. I want you to screenshot this or find it in our guides. This is what you always come back to. These are the 5 different styles that you should be rotating between. This is how you become interactive on Facebook and not just an ad. Showing your face, recommendations, which might be, you guys, there are 1,000 recommendations around you all the time. I'm drinking this kombucha right now. I could put up a post and be like, absolutely love my evening kombucha. This brand is my favorite. That's a recommendation. That is value that I'm adding to my audience that doesn't take some huge emotional effort, right? There's so much value in recommendations around you can be sharing all the time if you're looking for them. Questions, so interactive things, because you want to cause engagement on your posts. Your life and your hobbies, showing it's okay if you're going to show yourself going on a run every couple days, showing you and your run and your time and your results. That just means that's part of your brand and people connect you to being a runner, right? That's not something that I'm not going to share because nobody cares. This is part of your brand development, and you want them to have those anchor points that they know about you. So what are your anchor points that people can know about you because you share them often. Mine are my cows, my homeschooling, my farm. These are like anchor points, and it makes people feel comfortable when they start to when they feel like they know you through those things, right? And then plexus. So if you're doing this beautiful rotation of creating these interactive styles and you're sharing about plexus in there with those visuals, it's not a billboard, it's interactive, right? And they know who it's coming from because they know all these other things about you. They've seen your face, they've been given recommendations of value, they've engaged on your posts and asked questions, and you've asked questions of them. You've shown your life and your hobby and your values, and now you show plexus, and all of that previous connects to plexus and you, right? This is where you want to start. If you have not been posting in a long time, if I am ever working with teams or girls that come in, ladies, and they say, hey, I haven't been posting in Facebook in forever. I've only posted like holiday pictures. I have them go to the 5 posting styles. I'm like, great, we have exactly what to do. Start here at the beginning, and you're just going to every day grab one of the 5 posting styles and then put in that 5th plexus post. And you're going to just keep following this pattern. And the women who do it, it works. So don't overthink it and always come back to that. I'm going to see if I'm missing anything in the chat. Oh, Elizabeth, starting conversations. Okay. I feel like I want to dig into that one, but I also want to keep going for this. Okay, I'm going to finish this and we'll come back to starting conversations. Okay. Someone remind me. All right. So that's your Facebook posting styles. And someone said, does this relate into stories? So now we're going to go into stories. So we've talked about Facebook posting. Now we're going to go into stories, okay? You're going to take this exact same thing and put it into your story style. And I have some other story tips I'm going to give you at the end. So these are my old stories, and I want to show this because people will tell me, you just have an eye. You just naturally do good stories. And I'm like, this is from my old story roll in 2018, long time ago. I obviously was not a natural. I really had to learn all of these patterns. So everything in this old story style is hitting these, it is all about me. If you notice in here, there is nothing of value to you as my audience. This is about me, my laundry, my dinner, my baby, and what we're doing. Nothing of, why would you want to watch my stories unless you were like my mom, my friend, or a nosy neighbor, right? Like, why would you want to watch these? You wouldn't. So we take these 5 posting styles and we translate them into our stories. Here is what it looks like for the viewer. All right. You show you because your face is important, and in stories more important than ever, because that is like a behind the scenes look, right? You have to show your face. Do you notice in this version of showing me, I created a lot of distance? I am not up in here like you can see my nose hairs talking to the screen. That's just not attractive. I put my phone on the windowsill and I'm creating distance, right? You'll also notice on this you story, there are captions on it. I am talking in this story, but I have written out the caption that I am saying. Okay, this is if you take away anything from tonight for your stories, please type out your captions. Make an abbreviated version, type it out, and stick it on there. Because while I might not watch a minute of you talking about what you're doing, I can absorb in your like 3 sentences that you typed out what you're doing and get the same message. Have you guys have probably been there when someone is just talking and there's no caption and you're like, we have that 1 second to catch them. And so you just click through and you're like, oh, talk. Let me swipe to the next thing, right? Because we are not committing to listening for 3 minutes on what's going on. So captions, please. Do not use the caption sticker because the person has to listen to the whole thing. Let me know if that makes sense. Diane, I'm going to show you how to stick captions on at the end, so stay tuned for that. But always do type it out. So recommendations, I am just using what I was doing, making my bread. I stuck my recipe on there, right? Life hobby behind the scenes. I'm showing that I'm homeschooling, but do you see how this is called a B-roll? This was a little video. You guys, that video was 15 minutes long. I set my phone up on the table ledge, and I just recorded the entire time of me homeschooling. Why? Because I don't want to have to interrupt my day. I'm not staging anything. I got to make this work for me, right? It's 15 minutes long, but I cut out a tiny little clip and put it up as a behind the scenes. And I also added value on that. I texted, it might feel redundant to do these things sometimes, but it has deep value, right? Questions. So on our next slide, we're on questions. You see the kids fishing. I'm not just saying, took the kids fishing. That would be only about you. I'm saying, who else has fishing kiddos, or who else has kids that love to fish? And then some relatable, I never fished as a kid, but this is all they want to do. Y'all, my DMs blow up with things like this. My kids love it. Oh, I love it. Oh, they love it. Yep, my kids, right? Because people, it's about them and you're asking questions and it's relatable. And then you throw Plexus in there. This is the version of throwing it in. I'm going to show you in a second how to promote it. This is throwing it in. Throwing it in can show how you're drinking my electrolytes this morning, right before I go on a run. Anyone else a runner? Like, do you see how these can like blend together? So these are the 5 posting styles, showing it through your stories with those extra tips. I want to point this out because this is super helpful. This is called a micro story. So I'm going to take that moment of fishing and I'm doing this because often people tell me there's nothing interesting in my life. I have nothing to share. So let's say you took your kids fishing, or you were cooking something, or there's so many. I want you to think of your just everyday life, what you do. You're driving in the car. Okay? We're going to use that example in a second. You set the stage. This is the summer of fishing. I set the stage. So let's say you're driving in your car and saying, this is where I am every morning for an hour to start the day, right? Like you're driving to work. Then value for them. I look at the moment. What could my audience use from this moment? So I went online, screenshot a tackle box that they're loving, and I posted it. I highly recommend this. DM me for the link. Okay, friends. I say DM me for the link because I want to start conversations in my message box. When they say, hey, can I get that link? I say, yeah, here you go. Do you have kids that love fishing too? And now we're in a conversation, right? Sometimes I use the link. If I don't have time to get in conversations, I'll put up the link. But you want a conversations. So don't give the link. Say DM me. And then engagement. So you could, let's say you're in your car on the way to work. You could say, here's the podcast I listened to today. DM me for the link. Right? Or here's, what else do you do on your way to work? Here's the breakfast I had. Like you could put up a cute photo of it. DM me for the recipe. We're having value for them in your everyday moment. Engagement. Now, this is where you can ask more questions about your audience. Here's my music playlist. Yes, Stacy, I love that. I want you guys to start, if you start looking for the value for them, you will find it everywhere. Your purse, your shoes, your outfit that you wore to work, your lipstick that you're wearing that day that you love, your makeup that you put on, a new earring, jewelry set that you got. There is value everywhere for your audience when you're looking for it. And then the engagement piece. This is to cement that conversation even further. Are you a fishing family? Do you love podcasts? Do you love audiobooks? What audiobook are you listening to right now? I need new suggestions. Please send it to me. You see how you're like asking and begging for that engagement, right? Not begging, but you're giving them a million prompts for that. So that is a micro story within a day. This is also called, for future reference, because I'm going to talk about it in a second, this is called a story set. Okay, I want you to remember a story set is stories that have to do with the same thing. 3 to 4 is a story set. All right, so I'm going to pause right there. Any questions on that so far? See if I'm missing anything. Okay, if there's any questions, you guys.
Hey,
yeah.
hey, Amber.
Yes.
Hey, I have a question. So What would your advice be for a mom who wants to share more homeschooling, but doesn't exactly like posting her children online? Um,
Yeah.
how can I make that more meaningful without putting my children out there?
Okay. So great question. Totally no issue at all because your stories are about the other people, not about you. So if you cover their faces, it doesn't matter. Like, and it's actually very, for lack of a better word, it's very trendy to not show your kids' faces. So people are used to it, they see it. And if they have that same value that you do, it increases the value they see in you of, oh, she doesn't show her kids' faces either, neither do I. And I like that, right? But because it's not about them, put a heart on their face or squiggle them out with a little marker and talk about the moment, talk about what you're homeschooling, talk about how you got through a rough moment in your homeschooling, recommend a book, recommend a hack. So many things you can do without needing to show faces.
Okay.
Personally, I'm really the same way. I don't make my stories about my kids for the most part. It's about me interacting with the kids because that's my audience, you know. So yeah.
All right.
Hope that
Thank
helps.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I've always posted from Facebook to Instagram. No, that's how you do it, Brianna. I don't think there's any other. Always build your stories on Instagram and have them directly connect to Facebook because Instagram has a lot better features than Facebook does. Okay, so we're gonna get into then the how to make a plexus like you go all out. You're like a plexus ask, right? And you want to do this like at least once a week, at least once a week. So every couple days, do a full on plexus ask. Mix it up. Ask about plexus. Ask about the business. If you want business builders and you are not sharing about the business in your stories, you are not going to get business builders. That's just the way it is. I want every customer that orders from me to know when I say, hey, and are you interested in the income side of Plexus as well? They know exactly what I'm talking about because they've seen me promoting and sharing it, right? So I want you to go back and look at January. How many times did you share about the Plexus business? Like a real share in January. How many posts? How many stories? Go look at your story archive. That'll tell you a lot. Okay. Um, Pat, do you need to have your accounts public? Yes. If you want to use social media to expand your business, then yes. I don't think there's any way around it. You don't have to use social media to expand your business, but it is a helpful tool. Okay, here we go. 4P method of plexus and stories. Here's how you do a complete ask. I use this method every single time without fail, and all my girls do as well. So you're gonna do something personal because you got to show them the moment, right? You got to draw them into the moment. So whether it's you sitting at your desk, you holding a pink drink while the kids are playing in the background, whatever it is, make this personal. Then it's a problem. You're gonna put a do you feel, do you feel this, do you feel that, did you start your new year's goals strong and fall off from them, right? Like this is a what you want in this problem moment is to get them saying that's me, right? So this is the problem that you're drawing out the emotion of that's me. Then next, you're going to show them people, which is the testimonies. Made it people because it sounds better to say 4 P's than 3 P's and a T. This is the people. You're going to grab before and afters. You're going to slap them on the next slide and say something like, so did they, or so did I, or this could be you, or are you ready? Right? Like those key words right there, right? And then poll. Um, this is one where the only time I suggest to do a poll. I've done it multiple ways and I will have a massive amount of people click a poll and a small amount of people DM when it's something like this. So I always do the poll if I want a larger group to work with. Sometimes I don't, friends. Sometimes I'm like, if they can't, this is kind of in my mind sometimes, but this is me at my level. So for y'all, most of you, put up the poll, okay? But I think if they don't have the gumption to write me, I am interested, then they're probably wasting my time. So that's what I do a lot of times now. So feel that out. Like maybe if you're like, you know what, I only want to work with the people, especially the business. I do this a lot with the business. I only want to work with the people that have the drive enough to send me a message. So I'm not going to put up a poll for it because I really want to find those real people there, right? Okay, so that is where you want the poll. So personal, the problem, the before and afters, and a poll. Any questions on this? Okay, then I'm going to tell you guys when they hit click the poll, because if you're like, well, what do I do when they click the poll? They click the poll. I immediately, not immediately, but I message them from the poll and I say, hey, thank you so much for watching my stories. I saw you clicked on for more info for Plexus. Before I send that, I want to make sure it was an intentional click because I know that I accidentally hit them all the time. LOL, wink emoji. You guys, I do this because it's almost like an icebreaker. A lot of times they come back, no, I did, right? I meant to click it. Sometimes they're like, no, it was an accident. And then I don't have to wonder why they're ghosting me. But I'm like, hey, did you mean to? And I make it funny. They say yes. I'm like, awesome. So that I can send you the information that's best for you. Tell me, what are your main needs? Right? So I need to know what they want. Well, I really want to lose weight. Well, I really want to work on my gut health. They say that to me a lot. I say, okay, tell me like how is bad gut health showing up for you? Are you seeing like skin issues or fatigue or just digestion issues? I'm helping to dig, dig, dig. Why do we want to dig, dig, dig? Because the more we make them think through, yeah, actually, my skin's terrible. I feel puffy. My jeans are so tight. I haven't been able to lose weight in a long time. They are helping to sell themselves on why they want this product. Because remember, we are never in a convincing state. Sales is service done well. So we are looking for tell me all your problems so I can tell you how I can serve you, not because I'm trying to sell and convince you. So we want them to really think about, because a lot of times we get used to it, right? Well, I've always had this struggle. And we want them to be like, man, I've had this struggle. Like, I don't want this anymore, right? And then what we do, they tell me their needs. I kind of deepen it to see where we're at. And I say, okay, great. And I go find a few testimonies, a few little screenshots of testimonies. I use Gut Health and Happiness a lot, which is my favorite. Or I have a camera roll of hundreds that I use all the time. And I send them 2 to 3 testimonies and an image of like the triplex. And I say, tell me, how does this sound like where you're at now and where you want to be? Let me know if this excites you and I can send you a cart. And friends, that is 99% of my conversations are purely that. And they say, send me a cart. And I send it to them right then. If they ask me, now we're going into other training, but I'm going to keep going. If they ask me for the price, I say, well, let me put it in a cart for you and I'm going to send it. And so you can see how it all breaks down. Because I want them to go into that cart and see the items in there and choose for themselves. And that is 99% of the time they either order it or they say, oh man, I wish I could. I will in the future. And we deepen the conversation. It doesn't stop at that price question, right? Any questions on that?
Naomi
Yes.
had one.
Okay.
She said, when posting about the biz, do we use the same format and do we post other people's success stories the same as product success stories?
Yes. So I really want you all to really key in to the Monday and Thursday calls. So every Monday, you're going to hear from someone who's had a lot of business success, right? So you could share the image of teacher, are you a teacher, or a stay-at-home mom, and you can go take their stories and share their stories as business stories. Or you can share our comp plan graphic, right? Or with the business, I really try to also, I'm going to say this, I also try to remove any uncertainty they may have. So I'm thinking about the audience. What are they thinking? They might be thinking, I have to have a large social media. I have to spend a lot of time. I don't want to be salesy. So I list out all these questions and I will often try to answer one in that personal spot of you might think, remember, I'm speaking directly to them, not I thought I had to blah, blah, blah. When we say I, we cut them out of the equation. So you want to always say you. You might be thinking this takes a lot of time. But what we have is a great system that makes it simple and doable, right? Like you're taking their questions and answering them. That's what I like to do with the business, right? You might be thinking you have to have a large social media following, but these were our last top jewels and diamonds. And then go look and take screenshots of their follower account and be like, look, she has 800 followers. Look, she has 1,000 followers. Like almost all of our top people don't even have large followings, right? And you can use those stories like that. And then what was it? Oh, so when they click on the poll for the business, yes, I'm interested. I message and I say, my question is, hey, thank you so much for clicking. I'm so glad to see that you have interest in this. It's been such a blessing for our family. Tell me, what draws you to this and what are you looking for? And then they go, I want my husband home more. I wish I could quit my job. I this, and I get to that heart of the reason instead of just throwing like the hows. We get the heart of the reason and have great conversations around it. So that's what I do with the business conversations. I feel like I'm sidetracking. I'm so sorry. Hopefully this is helpful. There was also a question about the 4 P's of Plexus. What is an example of personal? Let me pull that up so I can see. Oh, I might show, if I'm talking about the business, I might show a picture of me sitting there in a laptop, right? Or I might have my kids playing in the background and it's blurred out because, you know, the distance there, and I'm holding a pink drink here. And I might say something like, I love that this gives me energy, or keeping up with the kids is my favorite benefit. And then it swipes to, do you struggle with fatigue or energy or something like that? It's basically leading them in to the ask, right? So that's what I would say that is. Okay, so let's go on posting on Instagram, because here's the thing, friends. Let's talk about stories for a second since we were on there. If you do not have new eyes on your stories, you can put up the best stories in the world, but it doesn't matter because the same people are seeing them all the time. So Brianna's like, yes, amen, preach it. And here's the thing also, do not be waiting for them to message you from your stories. If you have manageable story viewers, you have a several hundred story viewers or a couple dozen, whatever it is, I hope, and if you haven't, I'm excited for you because you get to go have a bunch of people to have conversations with. Swipe up on who viewed your story and go message all those people. Right? Someone said, how do I start conversations? They're watching your stories. They know what you're talking about. Go say, hey friend, happy almost February. I wanted to ask, has anyone taken the time to share Plexus with you yet? You may have seen some of my stories. It's really blessed my life. It's helped me in this, this, and this, and I just really like connecting women to it. So I wanted to ask, is it something you've ever considered? Right? Same thing for the business. So simple. And how kind of you to go ask, has anyone taken the time to share Plexus with you? Is it something, my favorite thing, is it something you've considered or thought about? Because most likely they have, and they go, yeah, I have thought about it, but I'm, not sure I can afford it. But I don't know if I have the time. Like then we get into the buts. But swipe up, really, really good option there. So, but coming back to increasing the views on your stories. So we're going to talk about how to do that. Yeah, Amy, I love that. Always get a more positive response. I love it. Okay, so increasing the views on your stories, if you're on Instagram, is to obviously put out Instagram posts to attract new audience to your stories, right? We're gonna dig into this just a tad here. This is my old Instagram account. If you guys go to my Instagram right now, it's Wild Style Family, and you swipe all the way down. I have not deleted a single thing because I want to show people, like, look, I came from humble beginnings, right? Like this, it was all about me. There's nothing for you. Like, unless you are my mom, you do not care about this stuff, right? So it looks like a photo album, which this is appropriate for Facebook, not Instagram. Facebook, it would be more appropriate because that's people that actually know you and you're face to face with. Instagram is strangers for the most part. So it looks like a photo album. There's no theme. I am the star, no obvious value. Going to current Instagram account, and I am not perfect, friends, but I've come a long way. So photos that invite the viewer in, which means, like, for example, this one of me and my daughter right here in the center. If I was smiling directly at the camera, her and I, you would know that post is about me. And maybe you would click on it to like zoom in on my face and see if I have wrinkles or I don't know, whatever, like zoom in. But you're not clicking on it out of interest for you. But because of the side shot, and this is what I really encourage people to do, start taking your photos as a viewer. You go, what's going on in this photo? Let me click and discover and see. So it's a really, really huge tip for you. For the most part, don't look at the camera. Others focused and consistent theme. So it looks more like a magazine. And I'm going to show you my phone in a second, but just to recap, your Facebook is to build brand trust and like connection with your audience. Your stories are to deepen engagement and behind the scenes. And you're going to use Instagram posts to most of the time expand your audience. All right. So that is how that breaks down. Tina, when you said that you've seen people do faceless accounts, that was like trending for a little while, but that will not work for you with Plexus. I'm not saying you're going to do it. I mean, everyone else on this call, don't do it. You're showing your face in your stories and people are seeing you. The faceless accounts, there's no connection, right? Tina, I wasn't saying you. I just mean, I didn't want people to get confused with that. Okay, do you guys want to see some story tips? I'm going to share my phone with you and hope my do not disturb is on and nothing embarrassing pops up, although I don't know that it would. And we are going to share my screen. And I'm going to show you, I get asked a few things. You might already know this, but bear with me. Oh, I'm muted? Am I muted? Can you guys? No, okay. Let's see, iPad, AirPlay. Here we go. And I'm going to find my mirror screening and hit to my new iMac. And it's going to share you guys some of my most popular story requests. Okay, here we go. So we're going to go into stories. I already pre-thought about this. So here's an example of a story that would be a personal, right? That is like you first. So you might start with something like this saying, working from home today or digging into my biz today, something like that, something personal, or kids playing outside and getting some work time, whatever it is. And then you're going to hit this draw tab. So these three little dots right here, if you hit draw, okay, you have these markers up here. There's 5 markers at the top. You're going to want to choose the center, which is the highlight marker. And then you're going to pick so you see this picker at the bottom left, this little picker tool right here. You can go around and pick the color that you want to use out of the image. So I'm just going to pick like a cream here, or you can pick a brown, whatever. And then I'm going to hold my finger down on this image, and the entire thing has this pretty overlay, right? Now, I might want to do that. Rihanna, I love it. I might want to do that because I want to create first, I'm going to put some testimonies on this, but they're going to connect it to me because they see my face, right? Then I'm going to go to my sticker tool, and I'm going to go to photos, and then I'm going to go to my album, and I have like 1,000 albums, so it takes a while to load, but I'm gonna go to a Plexus album and stick a before and after picture on there, right? Anything you want, you can stick on there, text, whatever it is. So that is how you highlight an image. I'm gonna undo and get rid of it. And do you guys see how it just created like a nice space? Like now this is not like fighting. This is fighting now with the other images. Text, whatever you want to do. That's how you do that. All right, here's an example. I was just going to show you guys of what I was talking about of a distance moment that could be about them. I could put text on here. How to do text is, I think everyone knows how to do text. Put text here, you know, but I'm going to show you how to do a highlight background. So let's say I said, do you ever look at your kids and just and can just see them as adults? Like, I don't know, something like that. Now, this moment could, you know, I would get a lot of yes, 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 totally understand, like totally see that, totally get that, because it's asking about them. But this is how I'm going to highlight underneath it. I could choose any color again using that highlight picker tool and just highlight under it. Look at, I'm using the marker. I want you guys to see this. I'm using the marker, so it's really heavy, but I want to use the highlighter, so it's a lot lighter. I love using that marker on that top left. If I want to, you can make your marker size smaller. If I want to draw a letter, I usually will go like coffee shop, and then I'll go fill out the rest of course, it wants to say that it's not a word. So I will go fill out the rest of the word like this, and I'll make my stories pretty using that marker tool. Okay, so that's how to do that. The last thing I want to, okay, a couple of things on just making your pictures prettier, okay? This might be what you're going to show I ate for dinner. This looks so gross. So close up is what people do. They make these ugly close-ups. Not ugly, I'm sorry. That sounds really harsh. I'm just like, that is so ugly. Like when I look at my camera roll, I would not be attracted by that. Instead, what I learned from watching other people's stories is if I can frame it differently, I can make the same thing look a lot more attractive and pretty. Do you see how there's like a story behind there? There's distance. I was able to go put what the burgers were equals one happy husband, and you see the kids, you see the husband back there. There's this distance and space. So I wrote down my tips on here. So write down distance. You want to create distance and you want to leave space for verbiage. So you'll see in a lot of my stories, even this one, I left all this dead space on the left and the bottom for verbiage. Because this looks a lot worse. I see people do this sometimes to put verbiage around it. That's not attractive to us in stories. So you just want to make sure you're leaving space. Oh, let me show you guys this because it's such a cool tool. This is a story I did today. Let's say you're like, oh, I love what Amber said on her story. You could screenshot this story, go over into your camera roll. Woo! Where's my, okay. Find the story, and then I can highlight. Did you guys know you can do this? I can highlight all this text. You could go highlight all the text, copy it, and then go to your own story, grab your own image, and paste all that text, and then edit it however you want, right? Like, so helpful. So you don't have to type out all the same stuff. Okay, I could show you a few other things. I'm going to show you one more thing really quick because I think it's really helpful for Reels, and that is to edit out gaps, okay? Edit out gaps in your stories and your videos. Oh, good. I'm glad you guys are liking this. Okay, I know it's going long, so we'll end with this. Here's a really short clip I made of making my husband's breakfast. And do you see how it's like there's no gaps? It keeps you interested the whole way because something's coming next. The way to do this is you're going to go into your, people ask me this all the time, so that's why I'm going to show it. You're going to go into your reel tab, and you're going to go to make a reel. Here's the 50-second video clip for that 13 seconds that originally was. I'm going to hit next, upload the whole clip, I'm gonna mute it for you guys, so there's no background noise, but I uploaded the whole clip in here. And then I'm gonna go to that very first spot where I put the bread down, okay? I'm gonna hit this split tool in the bottom right, split. Now I've split this into 2 clips and I can delete this entire first discard it piece of the clip. And then I go to the spot, okay, I put the bread down. Now I'm gonna create another split. I'm gonna go all the way to, where do I get the first egg? Okay, there's the first egg coming, so another split, and I'm gonna delete this whole entire center. Discard that whole center. And so now you see we went from bread on the plate, then egg on the plate, and that's how you build out this entire thing, just editing out all the gaps. And then I will often just save this to my camera roll and upload it as a story. And it's just one way to zhuzh up your stories, right? And make them more enticing. And then save as draft. Okay, last tip then is save as draft. If you guys don't know, you can build a story. Like I might build a business story off this image, but it takes me, please know, it takes me a good hour or more to build a story. It takes me a long time to make a great story set. So when you see a great story set from someone, know it took massive amount of efforts. So I might start this story set and not get all the way done. So let's start it by pasting that text we had. So my kids are coming in, I'm not all the way done. I'm gonna save it, save draft, and it goes into my drafts. And you can see I have they stay in here for 7 days and then they delete out. My drafts are often full of half done content that I can put up later. And this is how, as a mom, I don't let it disrupt my day, is I take stories all day long, and here's my next tip, is you do not want to put up stories all day anyways. You don't want to put up a story, then 2 hours later, now we're homeschooling, so I put up a story, then 2 hours later, now here's us fishing. You don't want to break, you don't want to every 2 hours like this. You want to put them up as sets. So here's what I tell my mom friends that are trying to work in nooks and crannies. Take all your photos, all your B-roll, all your videos for the entire day. And then at the end of the day or the beginning of the next day, put up your key sets, put up your key pieces all together in a bunch. Because people will stay to click through all those stories in a bunch. And your algorithm is going to go a lot higher than if you put up little pieces all day long like this. Okay. Also let your stories expire. So 24 hours, let your stories expire all the time. I'm always letting them expire for 24 hours or more. And this has given me so much freedom. So I can only every 3, maybe put stories up every other day, whatever. And you will see a boost in your story views. So you let them expire. Or you go delete them. Sometimes I'll delete them if I don't want to wait. And then you put up your fresh new story set, and that very first story, make it a high engagement story. Because if that very first story slide is a high engagement and a lot of people are responding back to you, the algorithm says, because they're testing your stories every day, and they're like, oh, people want to see this story, so we'll go show it to a lot more of her viewers. And that's where you see your story view really increase. Or because you've had no stories up for 24 hours and you put a story up, what is Instagram doing? Let's see it. Let's test it out. Let's throw it out to everybody now. And that increases that story view. So a high engagement, very simple way to do this is, are you excited about Monday? A, yes. B, no. Tell me, how are we feeling, friends? And you get a lot of ABs DMing you, right? Or are you a coffee person? A, yes. B, no. If you could, that's a very simple way to drive engagement, because people want to say A, B, right? It's a very simple way. So that's how I would mention. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. Hopefully that was helpful, not overwhelming. So you're putting up 2 to 3 stories at a time. So Becky, I will put up, I'll often do my whole morning and my whole half of the first day and put it all up together, the good pieces that are of value and interest for someone else all together. Someone doesn't go say, wait a minute, she just put up a good morning and it's 11. Like they're not paying attention to the time. They're just like, oh, new stories, right? So I'll do that, and then I will either let them all expire. And this has been so freeing for me because I don't have to have my phone all day long. And then the next day, maybe I have had an afternoon set and I put up this whole afternoon set and leave that up. And now I don't need to put stories up again till a second morning from now, right? Like, and it actually drives Instagram story views way higher. Oh, good, Marge. I'm so glad. So glad. Thank you, friend. All right. Any other last minute Q&A questions on that? I know we went all over the place. Do you ever have a gap of nothing on your stories? Yes. I will disappear. You will most likely not see stories from me on Saturday or Sunday because I'm doing other really important things in my business. And sometimes I can't manage it all. And that's okay. So I'll leave gaps in my stories. And when I come back, I'm just the quality. Okay, maybe I can drive that point home. If you can up the quality of your stories because you're not trying to keep everyone updated as the day as you're going, you're going to see an increase in your story viewers. Quality and engagement. All right. Well, thank you, friends, so much. If you feel free to DM me if I didn't like explain something well or you want a little bit more on something, go ahead and DM me. I know this was really long. And my biggest encouragement would be just start and be curious about your results. Be like, that was interesting. People, like I discovered people don't like hard questions. I would ask these easy questions like back when I was trying to kick off my stories and really work on getting story and viewers, I would give $5 Amazon gift cards away. Every Monday morning, I'd put up a story set and say, get to know me mom time, answer this question below. I'm going to draw 5 winners for a $5 Amazon gift card or whatever. Something like that. And I would get a huge influx of people engaging on that. And I learned that if I asked easy questions, if you were an animal, what animal would you be? Like really dumb stuff, right? Farmer, city person, things like that. Everybody would answer because it was fun and easy. How long have you been married? How many kids do you have? How many kids did you want when you were a kid? How many kids do you have now? Fun questions, conversations up the wall, right? Everywhere. If you ask hard questions that take more than 2 seconds, hardly anyone's gonna answer. So I got curious, like, oh, nobody liked that question. It was too hard. Okay, so what can I do different? So just get curious with your results while you're testing things out. All right, well, thank you so much. And I look forward to next Tuesday and seeing you all on there. All right, friends, hopefully you have fun with that and enjoy stories more and all the things. Talk to you later. Bye.